So welcome into our casual Wednesday morning in the spiritual community of the sanctuary. It's good to be with you all. If there's anybody tuning in for the first time, we're thrilled and delighted that you're here with us. It's always a lovely time to get together, and it's a beautiful way for us all to feel we're still connected, and we are very strongly. And as I keep reminding us all every time we meet in this way, I'm not in an empty room. It's filled with presence. Well, of course, the presence of Source, of course, as well as your presence coming through. And so it feels very full to the few of us here at the moment. So I'm knowing that your Wednesday is indicating that you're doing well this week and that you are looking forward to even more wondrous days to come for the rest of the week, and that you are paying attention to your life and you're paying attention to your living, because this is the ideal opportunity to do exactly that. You know, I don't know about you, but most of us seem to postpone our good. We postpone taking care of ourselves. We postpone all the wonderful things we have in mind for ourselves to realize, to work on, to experience, to see outcomes from. And some of us never even get to anything like what's on that mind list for us that we're going to take care of when we have the time. And you know, time, it's never not available to you or to me. Time is just time. It is the human aspect of us that, slices it up into portions and so forth. But you have, and I have, the very same 24 hours that everybody else has in a day. And it's interesting when you know certain people in your life that seem to get a lot done. They're extremely busy people, are they not? And that's why we joke and we say, if you want to get something done quickly, ask a busy person if they're available to do it. And we smile, and then we straight in our minds go to somebody we know of that caliber. So what I'm endeavoring to say in a circuitous way is to make the most of every moment of your every awakened daylight hours. Make the most of it and stop making excuses for why this isn't, or that isn't, or I'm not. You are an amazing, intelligent, sovereign, empowered being. Yes, you are. Even if you're feeling crummy today, even if you feel you haven't got an ounce of energy today, even if you feel that, what's it all about, Alfie, today? That feeling is real. You're feeling it. But it is not the truth. It's the cloud over your head that's passing and will pass. And clouds dissipate themselves. They come, they go, they appear, they disappear. That's how clouds are. So every negative thought, every negative feeling you're having is simply a cloud that is ready to be dissipated if you will oblige it. It doesn't want to be hanging around heavily over your head either. It doesn't. Clouds don't like to be static. Not that any cloud is, but it sometimes appears to be so, and especially with those dark clouds that follow us around when we're not feeling so great. Now, in spite of all of that, I'm saying draw the curtains of all of that aside and see yourself as you are. An amazing possibility, an amazing potential for whatever kind of good you so desire to experience or demonstrate. Why? Because you are a sovereign being. You are empowered. You are an amazingly intelligent energy or life force. It's just that you and I forget that so many times and so much of the time that we begin to see ourselves only as what we're feeling, what we're thinking, what's going on in our lives, or what's not going on in our lives. We judge ourselves by what we have or what we haven't got. We judge ourselves compared to somebody else who has more than we have, or so it seems. We just do this thing to ourselves that is not anything like a support or an affirmation or an energy that's going to move us forward. Why do we do that so much of the time? Why can somebody else, when I'm feeling good, come along, say something to me, and all of a sudden that goes out the door, out the window, away from me? It's like that we're stealers from each other. We steal each other's breath. We steal each other's goodwill. We steal each other's good feeling. And we can only do that because we allow it to happen. We give it away. In effect, it's never stolen. We hand it over by allowing that. Now, if you and I are set and our centers are strong, none of that affects us. Like they used to say of Jesus, this does not move him. Or this does not move me. Whatever it is. It's the same with good or very bad news. We can get to the point where none of it moves us. You won the lotto. Oh, isn't that nice? That's great. I'll be able to do a lot of good with that. Oh, somebody said blah, 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 blah about you, and it's going around like wildfire. Really? Oh, that's interesting. And then you go back to getting on with what you were doing before that. See, you and I are so full of power, we empower the negativity by believing it. We add to the fire of that. We add to the decimation of that. We add to the validity of that by believing it and being disturbed by it. Now, how can you and I help this beautiful world of ours to renew itself if we ourselves are not strong at center? If we ourselves are not solid, grounded in a sense of I can make a difference, I can be the difference, and the only way I'm going to be any kind of a decent, good difference is if I'm solid, if I'm centered, if I'm strong within myself. And I'll only be able to be strong and centered within myself if I strengthen myself in the power and in the presence and the breath of the life that breathes me and the life of the life that lives me, in the real essence and power and force of that infinite divine intelligence, which is light and light and life and love. And I can identify it here right where I am. It's the only way it gets done. I don't know any other way, and those whom I'm in contact with and those whom I have studied alongside of since I was knee-high to a grasshopper, they've never shared any other way either. That's it. Can you believe it? My own university is right where I am. My own laboratory is right where I am. My own guidance and teachers and masters and helpers and so on, all right where I am. Which is why the great and glorious, beautiful, amazing, wonderful pal of a friend, the Christ of Jesus, said, "Physician, heal thyself." I suppose that was a day when he just had enough. People coming at him, pulling from him, wanting a piece of him, and so on and so forth. The one too many probably came along and he just looked at them and he said, "Physician, heal thyself." I love that about him. I love those incidents. Tells us that he was of the same feeling nature as you and as me. So I'm going to leave us with that question for this week, physician, heal thyself, because we're always running to everybody and everything else outside of ourselves to be healed of whatever, whether it's mental or physical or spiritual or whatsoever. Now, in that physician, heal thyself, that may mean I'm inspired to go to a counselor, go to a doctor, go to a teacher, go to a guidance counselor, whatever. That may be part of the physician in me healing myself. I may be drawn to that. And that's a good thing. Everything that provides us with an opportunity to be more whole and complete is a wonderful, good thing. And that's why nothing's off the table. Nothing. Why can I say that so confidently? Because God, infinite being, life itself, whatever you want to call what we can never name adequately, the moreness of ourselves, the moreness in life and living, is in everything, is in everyone. Every single thing and every single one has the full-blown power of infinite intelligence within it, him or her. Some are more awake to it than others. That's the only difference. That is, in the vilest of people that would be proclaimed as the vilest of people, there is that burning conflagration, the light of the source of the presence of spirit itself. As strong and as potent and powerful in the most vile that is considered to be amongst us as there is in the Dalai Lama or any great spiritual being. Very same amount, very same essence, very same empowerment. It's just that these beautiful people are awakened into it and recognize it and start to identify with it and behave as it would. You see, that's the difference. But see, everybody's a beautiful person, in truth. In truth. One of our wonderful singers, when they're amongst us, would sing, "You're such a beautiful person." And that is a song from the heart of the divine. You're such a beautiful person. Why wouldn't you be? You're my image, you're my likeness. I created you. I can only create as I am myself and from myself. So of course you are. Then all the helpers in your life and in my life are leaning over us saying, come on now, wake up, remember. It's okay, it's safe for you to wake up and remember. You can stop now being in that sleep of illusion. Come on now, wake up. But we shouldn't have to wait for a kick up the rumpus in order to fall flat in our faces in order for us to wake up. I'd like to respond to the gentle nudges now because it's too hard. My gosh, I'm a bit too long on the tooth to be kicked up the rumpus and land on my face all the time. That's not where I want to be at the moment. As my mother used to say, at this stage in my life, child, it's nourishment I want, not punishment. And I agree with that, and that's what you want too. That's what we all want. That's what all of life wants. Now, having dwelled on ourselves for long enough, I'm going to ask us to dwell on ourselves in a different way by seeing ourselves in persons, places, things, all life and all situations, and know that somehow or another we're interconnected with all of that, and somehow or another we've had a part in all of that, the good, the bad, and the indifferent. Yes, we have. There's no such thing as a holy, holy person who's never done anything messy in their lives or created a mess that they didn't have to clean up. All of us create messes that we have to clean up. We do them on our own, and we clean those up. We do them with others, and together we clean those up. Life is messy on three-dimensional planet Earth. It's three-dimensional planet Earth, and in the wonderful mansions of the divine essence and the Creator, there are very many mansions. In fact, so many there's no number could count them. We're three-dimensional. And when you think about that, it's beautiful because considering we're doing very well, I think, considering that. But that's not to say that you and I haven't experienced other mansions. Oh, yes, we have. Because we're not, as I say, intergalactic beings. We're interdimensional beings with the capacity to be in and out of dimensions. For example, when you fall asleep and you're in dreamland, you're in another dimension. Now, in dreams, all kinds of wonderful things can happen, can they not? I can remember the first time I had a dream that I remember anyway, when I was flying. I was flying standing up. I was just moving like, I was moving like I was standing still, but I was moving forward up above the lands and so forth. Now, I always thought that if I had a dream where I was dreaming, I'd be like, Superwoman and Superman and flying like this. I'd be, in the horizontal position flying. No, I wasn't. I was just going along like this, which was great because I had a great range. I could look all around. Now, that's another dimension. I couldn't do that in three-dimensional experiences. I could try and kill myself in the trying, but I wouldn't be able to do that. But it's great fun when that happens. So I'm saying now, get out of your own individual mind and endeavor to get into the collective conscious mind so that within the collective conscious mind, you and I can be a real source of power and of good. Now, the practicals of that, as the rappers would say, what are they for you and what are they for me? The practicality of it is this. What am I doing now to create this wonderful envisioned world that works for everybody? Have I caught the excitement of change and transformation? Have I really been energized by the whole global response to the lack of human rights for individuals on this planet, so many individuals on this planet? Have I caught the consciousness of that? Do I feel it? Is it visceral? Does it run through me in energy? The call to rise up and do what I am capable of doing, to help in the transformation of this world into a world that works for every single person, place, and thing, and for all of creation. Yeah, that's your calling. That's mine now. It's big, yes. But we would not be called to it if we were not capable of it. We certainly would not. Now, here's the thing I'm going to share with you right now, and we're going to get to quietness and silence and go in and see what we can do about all of what we're talking about and you're listening to. I happened to, by chance, and it was just because I pressed a button, you know how that goes on your phone or on your iPad, and up comes something you weren't expecting. Well, up came the TED podcasts, and the podcasts were on it's called The Social Culture podcasts, TED podcasts. Fantastic programs. They're about 15 minutes long to listen to. And one of them was a survey that had been done with Harvard people. And Harvard chose to choose a group of Harvard sophomore students at the time, and also a group from Boston, from the most disadvantaged areas of Boston. So you have the two kind of extremes. And they did that in the 1930s. It's 75 years old, and that study is still going on. There are still 60 people from the original study alive in their 90s today. And throughout that study, every 2 years, all of the people involved had to answer long questionnaires. And everybody agreed to do it, and they did it. And the outcome of that was people described that what gave them the greatest and the most healthy and happy and fulfilling lives was not money, status, fame. It wasn't anything of those kinds of things. What gave them that sense of being fulfilled, happy and healthy were their relationships. The result was that relationships is the be-all and the end-all of how to be happy, healthy, and well, and how to live wonderful years as elders. Relationships. And it was discovered too that out of both of the groups, there were great successes, and there weren't. There were some not such great successes too. It didn't matter what the backgrounds were. It's just people are people, and we respond in our own unique and different way. And so the outcome was that they were saying that if you reach the age of 50 and you're feeling pretty good and okay, and you're healthy and so on, and you have good relationships and so forth, it's almost guaranteed that in your elder years, your later years, you're going to maintain that way of life and living. And they're also saying it's not that relationships are not messy, they are messy. And it's not saying that we don't holler and shout and bawl at each other sometimes. We do. But what is strong and potent in the relationship is that in all of those relationships that last and support and affirm each other, they knew at all times that those people that they had disagreements with had their back no matter what. They were there for them no matter what, that this blows over, and it does blow over, and in time you get better at not going there in response to things, but that you knew solidly, you had solid friends, you had a solid spouse, and all was well, generally speaking. And that was the outcome. And it's still going on. And then lately, of course, when they were gathering together the remains of the people for this experiment, because they were in their hundreds at the time, they said, I suppose we better talk to the wives. And of course, when they did, the lady said, well, finally. And so now women will be included in studies and so forth. And speaking of women, I mean, this is what we all have to be aware of too. I didn't know, honest to Pete, I don't know how I didn't know this until very recently, that in most advanced countries in our world, in fact, in all of the advanced countries, it seems to me, I might be wrong here, except ours, written into the constitutions is that women have equal status with men. But we don't have it in our constitution. Isn't that amazing? I'm astounded. I am so shocked at that. So I think we have a lot of work to do in all areas and all fields. Because let me tell you, remember, it is true that the hand that rocks the cradle rules the world, and make no mistake about it, that is the truth. And still in our society today, most of the women are the matriarch of the family and so on in the household. There are men who are doing it now, and it's lovely to see that. More and more we see it. But still, women are in the majority there. And so that's a whole topic for another time, but still, that's a human right that we need to be looking at as well. So let's roll up our sleeves, I say, and take it all on, all human rights, most imminent and most especially now, the rights of black people to be having equal status with the rest of us, brown people having equal status with the rest of us, everybody having the same opportunities, which makes perfect sense to me, and the rest never made any good sense to me. But right now, we must work together so that young, very young African American or children of darker color can feel safe leaving their homes to go to school or to go to work or wherever they're going, and know they'll get the same treatment as white people or any other citizens of notice would get. We've got to start really in earnest taking care of human rights business. And if you don't do it and I don't do it, who's going to do it? So wherever we are, whatever we can do, however we can do it, whatever we have to be is most important for this to happen. It's now. It really, and I'm excited about it. I'm delighted when I see the response, the global response now, and the energy that's moving peacefully to get our work done so that we can transition into a better world and never go back to the one we knew, but to go into working really solidly to create this world that works for everybody. It's exciting. It truly is exciting, because where two or three are gathered together, we're told that the great I am, the power and the presence of spirit, the guidance and divine providence and divine guidance is there in the midst of us. If we could take that as our armor and take that as our shield and go forward knowing that this is not little me doing this, but it is a divine inspiration within me that wants to work itself through me and get the business done, then we could do it. Let me read to you this from the Science, Living the Science of Mind, which I picked up this morning. And this is Ernest Holmes saying, "There is no other condition imposed on us from the divine, no condition at all imposed on us from the divine. Everyone is born to be creative and to live to the fullest and to enjoy life, to be happy and glad and prosperous and whole, everyone. We do not believe that God is a failure or limits anything or anyone. God never makes any mistakes. We are the ones who are in error. If you are certain that our lives are constructed, and if our whole desire is to live in such a way as to harm no one, but to bless all, then we shall place no limit on the possibility of our future. This great gift of life is to be accepted even as the lilies of the field and the birds of the air. Let us try this example experiment, daily saying to ourselves," and it's a prayer, "All that the Father has is mine. There is nothing in me that can deny God's presence, God's power, God's wisdom, God's guidance, and God's protecting love. Today and every day, I shall live life to the full. I shall sing and dance and be glad, and always within me there is a power and there is a presence, and the life of God stays with me. And unto this presence be the glory and honor, dominion and power, both now and forever, and I say through me and through everyone in expression. Amen." Simple. It's very simple. That's my offering falling out. Simple, very simple. And so, my dear ones, what are we saying in summary today? We're saying this: develop and grow your relationships with other people. Be solid in your relationships with other people. Water your relationships. Tend your relationships. Nurture your relationships. They're the best thing you have going for you. They're the things that keep you healthy and happy and well. They're the things that offer you a sense of security, that people are at your back. But for that to happen, you have to be that kind of friend yourself, and so have I. And there's nothing more beautiful than friendships. There's great research done on women's friendships too. And again, I came across on the Cultural Society TED podcast a piece accidentally where Lily Tomlin and Jane Fonda is interviewed by another lady, and they're talking about female relationships and the friendships that women have. And they were speaking so beautifully and poetically and highly about that. And you know, Jane Fonda was saying that your female relationships, your strong and true relationships with your woman friends or girlfriends, for the younger ones, is a renewable source of energy. A renewable source of energy. And she describes these relationships as a spiritual act, as a spiritual act. And let me tell you, those of us who have women friends will attest to that and say, absolutely, absolutely, this is true. And they're more than friends. They're sister friends. They're friend sisters. Now, I am knowing that the sisterhood can also be discovered in the brotherhood, and that men can have these relationships too. But the research is showing too, and I can't remember which research this is, that men are afraid of close, intimate relationships with each other because if they allow themselves to become the we, they are afraid that the I will be erased. Now, I don't know how true that is or isn't. You lads will have to discuss that and see if there's any validity to it. But I know we have a very wonderful, strong men's group here, that's for sure. And I have been blessed to have some beautiful relationships with my brotherhood friends as well, that have allowed me to be just as closely connected with regard to vulnerability and so on as in sharing with your sister friends, your brother friends. It's the same thing that can happen. So I have been blessed with that throughout the years, key men in my life whom I see as brother friends or friend brothers. How about you? I mean, where are you with all of that? So I would recommend, ladies, if you're neglecting your lady friends, you know, put some power into it. I'd say to the gentlemen, if you're neglecting your male friends, put some power into it. And let us do our own experiments and let's see where that leads us. Where does it lead us? The world is extremely full and loaded with beautiful opportunities right now for each and every one of us to take that watering can and water ourselves and the seeds that fall from us to blossom into something amazingly great and embracing of all of life, so that we can feel the expansiveness of life flooding through us and out from us and making a difference, you know? I mean, really and truly, and how it's done is easy. It's just step by step, drop by drop, consistency, repetition, 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 a continuity. That's what gets us into deeper senses of awareness of the power and empowerment that is my life, your life, and all life. And so that's where we need to be. So I am going to invite us now for just a short moment to go into the beautiful presence in silence, focusing on the breath that empowers us, that waters us, that grows us, that unfolds us, that releases our beauty and grace through us by just a moment's silence. It's an amazing thing. So let's take a conscious, connected breath. Let's breathe deeply. That power and potency, that grace, that heavenly grace, that fills every cell, every atom of our being, that fills every aspect of our being, and keeps energizing us all of the time, most especially when we invite it, most especially when we're present to it. That's when we are embracing the power and capable of using it for good. And so I'm going to breathe now in the beauty, the grace, and the presence of the One. I'm going to allow myself filling my physicality and also filling the etheric body that's around me and the bodies that's around that, so that I become one great breath of life, pulsating, breathing, flowing as the one whole, complete life, the perfect life of the I am that I am. And the I am that I am is the whole life of spirit, breathing, living, thinking, feeling, moving as me. It's individualized, formed expression on this plane. So I breathe and feel it. And I release that breath out as a blessing throughout the universe, but mostly throughout this beautiful world, filling it with that sense of that draw to unity and harmony and healing and wholeness and fullness and plenty for everything and everyone right here, right now, in the present eternal moment. Spirit and only spirit, the only thought, the only feeling, the only movement, the only outgoing action through this individualized expression and all individualized expressions on this plane. And as that energy goes out, it moves through all planes. It coalesces in all planes. It merges with the one self in all planes. And there is only the awareness of I am everything and everyone, and everything and everyone is me. The word is spoken, the word is felt, the word is heard, the word is responded to, and the affirmation is, and so it is, and so it is. And so, my dears, the opportunity for me now, and any one of us who so desires, to take our wonderful celebration of prosperity and abundance into our hands, and to be very grateful that we have enough, and the enough is always plenty, and out of that, I can feel so opulent that I can share. And in gratitude and in love, I send this forth as I bless between my hands this gift, and I say, divine love consecrates my gift. It goes forth to heal, to bless, and to prosper all those who give and all those who receive. I rejoice in the sharing of my good, and I release my gift with love, as I release you to the rest of your day with love, to know yourself as Spirit knows you. And if you can do that for the rest of the day, by the end of it, you'll probably be able to walk on water if you can know yourself as Spirit knows you. Chip off the old block. And remember that God, by means of you, is on its way upward, forward, and onward. And so it is. A blessed day to everybody, and thank you again for joining us here in the virtual sanctuary. I look forward to our next meeting. Take care of your good selves and anybody else who crosses your path.